right, video 4. We rolling? All right, let's do this. Ron Carruthers here. I am the founder of a company called Duceris, your total college solution. At the same time, I'm the founder of my own firm. That's a nationwide franchise. They had a lot of rules. I did not like those rules. So I went and founded my own company and left them to run that. Although they do a great job with it, I'm also the founder of Carruthers College and Financial Solutions. Today's video, we're going to talk about how do you select the college you're going to and why you're going in the first place. So let me tell you a little backstory here. My own personal example, I was my high school's valedictorian, graduated *1 out of 419 students, lest any of you think I went to a college with 5 kids and was actually proud that I was the first of 5. It's actually a real school. I graduated #1 in my class. And unfortunately, we didn't have the money for my family. My family and I did not have the money for me to go to college, which I did not do until many years later. However, the interesting point in all that was that I really didn't mind not going to college because I didn't know why I was going to college in the first place. So one of the things that I became specialist in college planning, so I work in all areas of personal finance, I'll handle lots of money for my clients, we provide safe money solutions, we give tax advice, and we specialize in college planning, all areas of it. But after I'd been doing that for a while from the financial standpoint, what we noticed was many kids were going off to college with no idea why they were there in the first place. So I can't tell you how many students went to school. I worked the numbers like a genius. Like I worked and we had every dime paid for, and one of two things happened. Either #1, the kid got there and decided 3 years in, they didn't like biology, they wanted to be a photographer. And so now they had to start all over and we had to go for 4 more years. The parents ended up paying for 7 years of college or 6.5 years of college or some ridiculous number. At the same time, the other problem was occasionally we'd have a kid go to school, get a degree, come out, and not be able to do anything with a degree. And I'm looking at you, gender studies as a major. In fact, just so you guys know, today, I don't know if it's fake news or not, but I did read a headline that said the country of Hungary actually banned gender studies as a degree because there was no economic value behind it. So I'm not trying to pick on anybody that's a gender studies major. I'm just pointing out some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today that you need to look for when choosing a major and hence choosing a college. So let's get into it. First of all, I have software that tracks 598 major career options. So you can scroll through, there's 63 careers that start with the letter A, and I don't remember how many of the other, but the total number is 598. Now, how do you select from 598 different careers when we're talking about a 16 or a 17-year-old? Well, the answer is like this. There's 3 criteria that we found are most important when you're looking at a career. And let me tell you what they are. The first is, 1, what you do. So you want to pick a career that's actually interesting. See, the reason that I didn't mind going to college right away was, up until that point, I had always thought I wanted to be a doctor. I interned at a medical office and found out very quickly I did not want to be a doctor, I did not like the sight of blood, and I didn't like insurance companies who kind of controlled the doctors I worked for of what they could and couldn't do. Remember rules? Not my good thing. So that told me going to school to be a doctor was a waste of my time. It really would have been a waste of my parents' money. It wouldn't have been for me. Love all you doctors. You guys do great work. I'm just glad it's not me. Ironically, for a guy who doesn't like rules, I absolutely love bookkeeping and numbers and money and math and all those sorts of things. So that's what I ended up going to school for. But that internship saved me. So how do you figure this out? Well, what we do is we look for 3 criteria. #1 is the one I mentioned. What do you actually do in a career? And we're looking for stuff that sounds good, pays good, so we'll just call that pay good, right? And the third is work available. A Could even add a fourth, which is you want to make sure you can get these benefits with an amount of schooling that you're comfortable with. So you parents watching this video, and you're like, my kid hates everything, they don't listen to me. Right. Of those 598 careers, what's awesome dealing with teenagers is they'll have 578 of them that they hate, which leaves us 20 that they like based on what they do with good pay and that they can actually find work in that field. These are your 3 criteria here. Now, if we can narrow it down for a family to 15, 20, 25 careers, then now we don't have to select the one of the 20 where the skies part and the sun shines down and this is your child's calling. That doesn't work. What we can do is of the 20, find what majors control this list of 20. In other words, if your student finds 20 careers that meet these 3 criteria, the work sounds interesting, the pay's good, and they can actually find work in it with an acceptable amount of schooling, right? Everyone would love to get paid the $400,000 that an anesthesiologist gets paid. The problem is most people don't want to go through 12 years of school and then another couple of years of internship and residency. They're in their 30s before they're actually starting to make that money. But if we can narrow it down to a list of 20-ish careers that meet this criteria, I promise you, that of this list, 9 of the careers, 11 of the careers, 7 of the careers will all require the same major because your kid's not going to go in 20 different directions. There's going to be overlap. And probably, most likely, almost every time we do this, the majority, 5 of the other careers will require a different major, and now we have a major and a minor. So now when we are going to the college marketplace, we can select schools that have that major and that minor of the careers that meet these 3 criteria. Why is that so important? Well, let me tell you why. In my many years of doing this with hundreds and hundreds of families, what I've noticed is at least once a week, somebody comes in and tells me about a school they want to apply to and the major that they want to take that this school doesn't offer. Perfect example, it's almost a cliche, the student that wants to go to UC Santa Barbara here. If you guys haven't been to Santa Barbara, it's beautiful. It's a great campus, great location. Tough school to get into, by the way. But they want to go to UC Santa Barbara and they want to study business. And the problem is Santa Barbara doesn't offer a business major. They offer economics, completely different, way more math heavy. There's not really a lot of, marketing classes or public relations classes or middle management classes. It's math, a little bit more math, still more math. Mike, the camera guy, was a math teacher. He loves all that stuff. It would make him very happy. But for your kid that wants business, that doesn't like math, it's not the same thing. So this is why this is so important. I'll give you another tip that's really important these days, which is once your kid has narrowed this list down to 20-ish schools, we recommend that they pick 1 career or 2 careers to intern in. And so what does that mean? They simply go, offer to work for free, get it 20, 30, 40, 50 hours of experience. It looks great in the college resume, and if you watched my video on getting in, it can qualify as one of your distinguishing excellences, something the schools look for. But more importantly, it gives them some real first-hand experience of whether this career is going to be for them or not. So guess what? If they go for a few weeks, like I did, to the medical office and hate every second of this, and I'm so sorry, Dr. Nimberg, you were a great mentor. I really did like working for you. I just realized that wasn't for me. If they hate it, we haven't wasted 1 dime of your money on this career here. And now we go back to the drawing board and look for something else. If they love it, they're already getting some real world exposure to that career. And let me give you a follow-up piece of advice. Have them intern for a couple of the other careers as well. But while they're going to college, make sure your student stays interning the entire time they're going to college. Now, they only have to do it a few hours a week. Here's what's going to happen. The first thing is, at some point, somebody's going to feel sorry for them and start paying them to show up. Now, it's great to work at Starbucks or work at a restaurant or something like that, but if you can get the same pay, maybe more, maybe less, but for a career that you're actually going to, you're going to come out with 4, 5, or 6 years experience in that field, which means, number one, any interview you go into, you're automatically going to have a really good shot at that job because you have experience and you're the safe hire, as opposed to someone else who might have only 1 or 2 years experience or no experience. Secondly, is a lot of my students who do this turn around and never even need to apply for a job because they get hired by one of the places they interned before they ever actually applied. The third thing is, we see this a lot, where a student starts out 5% higher or 10% higher in pay because they have experience. We'll figure out what that works out to over a 40 or 45 or 50-year career. It's a lot of money. So interning is a big deal, so we can find the careers, find the major that you want to go to school for. So those are your tips for today. If you did nothing else, the paying for college without taking tons of student debt on is a huge deal. Getting into your top school is important. But if you ask me, 27 years of doing this for thousands of families across the country, the most important thing that you can do for your student or as a student is to know why you're going in the first place and to make sure that the major you're taking gives you many options when you get out that meet the 3 criteria. Work you love, pay that's good, and a measurable career path so you can actually get into that field. So I hope this helps. If you're already in school, no problem. Go back and start doing this now if you haven't. We have tools and resources if you want some help doing this that can lay out the careers for you or help you figure out things like that. You're more than welcome to reach out to us. And most importantly, be sure to like this video. We're producing these to try and get back to the community. So like the video, share the video. We want to get the word out. College is really expensive, but done right, it's totally worth it. We do our part to try and make it as affordable as possible for you guys. Make sure you get into your top schools, and most importantly, make sure you're going for the right reasons. So I'm Ron Carruthers. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Pass it along. Also, if there's a video you want to see us shoot, be sure to shoot that in the comments and we'll pay close attention to that. We'll see what we can do for you. We'll see you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed this.